Hi, welcome to this video about the Tennessee Historical Newspaper Indexing Project, where we will talk about the general indexing guidelines for how you will work on the site. When it comes to what content we would like you to index, our general rule is that if it happened in Tennessee, we want to know about it. So we are obviously focusing on news and stories that occurred in the state of Tennessee because this is a Tennessee specific project. Now, you may see news on some of the bordering communities near the state line. You are welcome to index the names and places mentioned in those articles, but really the focus here is on Tennessee. If it is national news, you do not need to index it unless there's a Tennessee connection. So just think about focusing on the state of Tennessee. We do have a set of written guidelines that you can access to get a step-by-step detailed direction on how to do the indexing. So that will be linked in the description of this video below. And we want to take a second to describe the overall process. What you will do is create your free account on the From the Page website. You'll want to read through these indexing guidelines and you can watch these accompanying videos, and then you can get started doing the indexing. There is a two-step process for the pages that get indexed. There is a first pass by one or more volunteers to do the indexing, and then there is a review process to go behind the other person and just take a look and see if there's anything that you can additionally contribute, or maybe you spot a typo or something. So we ideally are wanting to have every page looked at least twice. And then of course, let's be sure that you feel able and open to ask us questions. We are definitely here to answer your questions so that you can have the best help that you need. Some general guidelines when looking at the content as for what to index and what not to index. We would like you to include local news, regional news. As mentioned earlier, it's okay to include border communities in other states. And state news is going to be important for this indexing project. We would like you to index local advertisements, including want ads. And then if you are looking at a newspaper page that has a photo and there's a caption for that photo, we would love for you to index that too. You can skip national news, again, unless there's a local connection. You can skip national advertisements, again, unless there's a local connection that's clear to you. You can skip the masthead information. This is usually the information on a page that tells you who the editor is, when it's published. You can skip the masthead. And you can also skip if you encounter any Sunday supplements, comics, sales papers. Those are things you'll see in 20th century newspapers. We're initially focusing on earlier papers, but in case you see it, you can skip those. But if you do see a business supplement, we would love for you to index that. We are asking that you not include ampersands, that you not include commas. We are asking that if you do not find information for a particular cell, and we're going to talk about what those cells are in the spreadsheet in a different video, you leave those blank. And if you have text that is not quite readable, you can't tell what it is and it's illegible, we have characters you can use for that as well. These are all explained in the written guidelines on the From the Page site too. Let's go through a few examples to help you as you are getting familiar with the project. So in the news clipping on the left, there is a headline about Harvey Logan, and it says, bold attempt to convey jailbreaking implements to alleged Montana train robber, E.J. Harrison, arrested as a suspect. Now, if you were just quickly glancing over the page, you might see the state Montana and be inclined to skip over it. However, if you look at the first paragraph, you will see that there is a mention of Knox County. So this has a local connection. So that it's important that you take some time to look at each article to make a determination of whether or not it can be indexed. Do not just look at the headline right away and skip it if you see another state. Take a moment to look at the text and see if there's a local connection. When we look at the clipping on the right, this says trunk arrives in Chicago. We see the Chicago September 20th date. And when we read through the text or quickly Take a look, we do not see a local connection to Tennessee. So this is one that you would not index. Here are a few more examples. We have a clipping on the left that is about the stockholders of the East Tennessee and Georgia Railroad Company, and it tells you who those stockholders are in several different counties: Knox County, Monroe County, McMinn County, Bradley County. This is a Tennessee connection. So this is a clipping that you would index the names of the individuals you see here, as well as the names of the railroad company. We also have a clipping on the right, and this is something relevant to Ashland, Kentucky. And as you read through it, there is no Tennessee connection. So this is a clipping that you would not index. Here's another example. We have a clipping on the left for Turpin and Richardson. These are proprietors of a store in Macon, Georgia. And you see that it says they will give special attention to consignments from East Tennessee, and it has their names. Well, this is not one that you would necessarily need to index because this is a store in Georgia. Now, they are giving attention to consignments from East Tennessee, but you may not feel the need to index it. However, in contrast, if you look at the clipping on the right, Chancery Court at Cleveland, well, that's Tennessee. That's not Cleveland, Ohio. This is Cleveland County, Tennessee. And so this is one that you would index. And this is why we are so lucky to have volunteers who are going to be familiar with the geography of the state, because you will know some of these locations. And if you don't, you can use Google Maps to look for nearby towns so that you get acquainted with the communities and the towns for the newspaper that you're indexing. So you certainly have that option as well. All right, with these examples, we hope it's helpful. And please do proceed to the next videos where we're going to go more in depth about how you index each of the specific fields.